Welcome, Greek U Nations, episode number 601 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our sixth book just came out. It's called I'm So Beautiful, It's Ridiculous, Unleashing and Promoting Strength, Self-Worth, and Real Sisterhood. So go and pick up that book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, we just finished up National Hazing Prevention Week and the tour that encompassed that entire week here in the United States. I am energized by the fact that college students are truly invested in removing hazing from any student organization on campus. And the Stop Campus Hazing Act, which passed in December of 2025 or 2024, I should say, a bipartisan bill here in the United States. This is having a real impact in terms of transparency of these cases all over the country. So that way, college students and also parents can make great decisions about the organizations they are joining on college campuses in the United States. So progress is being made. Now, speaking of progress, let's talk to our next guest. Marcel Vögeli is the legacy voice and passionate advocate of The Key to Self-Liberation, which is the groundbreaking Encyclopedia of Psychosomatics by the late visionary Belgian life philosopher and author Christiane Beerlandt. For over 12 years, Marcel has worked closely with Dr. Dirk Lippens and Christiane Beerlandt's life companion, carrying forward her profound insights into the symbolic, emotional, and psychological origins of diseases and other phenomena. Today, he brings her life-changing work to new audiences worldwide with clarity, compassion, and conviction. Welcome to the show, Marcel.
Hi, Dr. Mike. Thank you for having me.
Of course, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. I know we met a couple of months ago, and I just thought your enthusiasm really jumps off the page. So I know that our listeners are going to really enjoy meeting you today and learning more about you and some of the work that you have been bringing to life. For those who haven't heard of the Key to Self-Liberation, can you briefly explain what that is and how does it connect physical symptoms to emotional or psychological origins?
Well, the key to self-liberation, I will just show it to you briefly, is, as you mentioned, a groundbreaking reference work by Christiane Beerlandt that explores the deep psychological and emotional origins of over 1,000 physical diseases and symptoms. Now, imagine your body as a wise old lighthouse in a stormy night. Every ache, every symptom is in fact like a beam of light trying to guide you safely home, not to punish, but to illuminate what's hiding beneath the waves. The key to self-liberation is actually like that map that helps you decode those shining signals. And it basically asks you, what is your headache? That twist in your gut? What is your soul, so to speak, your inner self-core, as Christiane Beerlandt refers to it, is actually whispering to you. And basically it's saying, pay attention to this shadow, to what you're feeling, but you cannot really pronounce. And if you're trying to go deeper under that surface, you will find the treasures hidden in there. So if you can listen, not to the pain, but to this yearning underneath, at that moment you will unlock a door to deeper healing. And one of the things which I'm always advising to people is, when a symptom shows up, and instead of dreading it, just softly ask to yourself, if you could speak, what story would that symptom, would that ache tell you about what I'm feeling or avoiding? And that's basically what the work is all about.
This is pretty fascinating stuff. I'm wondering, how did you get involved with Christiane Beerlandt's work, and what led you to dedicate your entire life to sharing this message with the world?
Well, Dr. Mike, life is magic,
Yeah.
even if we don't want to recognize that. But I'll never forget that day when I first discovered the key to self-liberation. I was wandering a bookstore in Ghent, here in Belgium. And at the moment that I saw it in bookstore, I opened it, I saw the pages, and it hit me like a lightning bolt. Everything inside seemed to speak directly to my life. Now, you should know that years before that moment, I had been living in Bodrum, Turkey. I was working in tourism, and back then, tap water wasn't safe to drink. So people carried jerry cans to get their water. And, it seemed like a simple life, but it was great until one Friday. And that was the day before the high season in tourism would start. A car crash turned my world upside down. I broke my back. I suffered from a whiplash. And as that wasn't even enough, a few years later, I was diagnosed with an aggressive autoimmune disease, which left me in a very deep physical, but also in an emotional pain. And finding Christiane Beerlandt's The Key to Self-Liberation, it changed everything for me. For the first time, I saw my suffering not as random, but actually as a guidance towards deeper patterns which were already present in my life. And that insight, that was actually the turning point. It gave me clarity, it gave me freedom, and I regained purpose. Now, miraculously, after I read the book, I had the opportunity a couple of years to meet with Christiane Beerlandt herself, the author and philosopher, together with Dr. Lippens. And there was a huge click. It was like as if we had known each other for years. And for the last still 14 years, I've been working together with them. And now today, I'm advocating for her work.
Wow, what a story. That's really incredible. And I'm happy that you had a chance to meet with Christiane and know her. You talk about freedom, and I think this is kind of interesting to me. What does self-liberation in an age of self-abandonment, what does that mean to you? And why is that such a powerful concept for today's college students to understand?
Yeah, I think it's especially for college students who are in fact the future of a world is very important, because don't forget, today we live in an age where the noise of the world can literally drown out the song of our own soul. And self-liberation today is like remembering that you are not just a part of the audience in your own life, but you're also the conductor. And to abandon your own needs or your dreams, it's basically like unplugging your instrument during the symphony. And especially, I think, for students today, reclaiming that inner music means finding the courage to tune out the static and trust your own rhythm and play your truth loud and clear, no matter who you feel you are, or no matter with who or what you have to compare yourself. You are unique. And self-liberation in that context means actually reclaiming the ability to listen and to honor and to act upon one's own feelings, your inner needs, your deeper truth. And even in a society that rewards distraction, conformity, self-neglect, today's world is actually offering endless external distractions. And that makes it very easy for us all to ignore that meaningful inner experience. And that makes us that we fall each and every time back into patterns of self-abandonment. And that's actually to reply to your question. True liberation is actually a conscious act of tuning in, embracing, and integrating these very often ignored aspects of oneself, reclaiming personal agency and authenticity. Something which we can very often also advise to people in practice. And a good start is also when you're reading the first part of The Key to Self-Liberation, in which Christiane Beerlandt explains her philosophy, because sometimes, and I have to just add this as a little word of caution, is that sometimes when people first meet with a book and they start reading, they start looking up their disease, sometimes they might feel like it's some there's some guilt involved, or some you should know that Christiane actually has written this for people from and with love, first and for love for yourself, love towards yourself. So when you're sitting quiet sometimes and you're imagining like you're turning down all the volume of everyone else's opinions, and then you start listening to your own heartbeat, then you can ask yourself, what melody is trying to come through?
Wow, that is some deep stuff. I think it's very important today because you talk about tuning in, and I think that is extremely important, that idea, because yeah, we're so easily distracted, especially now with social media as an example. We're constantly comparing ourselves to other people, whether it be they're physically fit and they look great, or who knows what. And so the college students, they're struggling with their own identity, right? Listening to that melody that you're talking about that's coming from within. And they're trying to fit in socially on a college campus while also discovering who they really are. They don't know yet. They're 18 years old. They haven't discovered yet who they really are. So, how do you see that tension showing up in physical or emotional health?
Well, picture a chameleon, because basically today we're all chameleons. We're trying to fit in, as you say.
Yeah.
Now, picture this chameleon, which is caught between a rainbow and a mirror. It changes colors to blend in, but it's still longing for its own reflection. And that is when you suppress who you really are just to fit in. Your body is the first to protest. It can show up as exhaustion, stomach knots. Who of us never experienced stomach knots? Foggy headaches. And basically that is your inner compass spinning, and pleading, come home, come back to yourself. And those emotional storms and this physical discomfort are actually the signals, and this is also how Christiane describes it, the signals, the signs of life, that your true self wants to be seen. And it means no camouflage required. The tension between that fitting in and discovering one's identity, it commonly surfaces as anxiety. And that's what we feel today. There's a lot of anxiety. People are feeling they're not good enough, leading to burnout, physical symptoms like insomnia, headaches, digestive problems. And that's what we see a lot when individuals suppress their true feelings. Then the body starts speaking up. And it does that through discomfort, signaling unmet inner needs and lost connection with this authentic self. And this emotional stress and the suppression of identity, they manifest somatically. And this is actually illustrating how the whole body-mind connection is it's working. That when you're not listening to your body, when you're ignoring these signs, the signals, then it will come out physically. And that is not new. There's so much information out there that we already know that, but I think Christiane's approach is so unique because actually the words that she has written are as if it is written to yourself. And then again, you can always ask yourself, when you feel this tension, an exam, or if you're in a social group, if you feel that you got a negative reply on one of your posts, so to speak, this tension that you feel at that moment, you can ask yourself, or first and foremost, pause for a moment. Pause and ask towards yourself, and then I'm not talking about the post but it's about the feeling. What am I hiding right now for myself? Where do I need to drop the mask and just breathe?
Hmm. Yeah, that's powerful. Now, you and I both know that Amazon has tons of books on healing. I could go to the local Barnes and Noble store here over lunch and find a whole section on healing. I mean, it would be books on top of books on top of books. So, why do you believe that all of these traditional self-help books and courses, many times they will fall short in terms of helping people truly heal and feel whole?
Yeah. Well, as they say here in Europe, and probably this is an expression in English as well, many roads lead to Rome.
Yeah.
So we should be grateful for all the self-help books that are available. And I think first and for all, it's important when you pick out a book which compels to you, just know that there is no good one or bad one. They're all good, but they just fit to you at that moment. Now, in general, if when we're speaking about traditional self-help, it is often like, slapping a motivational sticker on a cracked windshield. It looks shiny, but don't forget, the crack is still spreading beneath. And that's what mainly, without condemning or saying anything negative about self-help authors, self-help books who are doing a great job, but when you start changing only the surface habits, you might be skipping this past old messy feelings, which is still living inside in this basement. And that is, again, I'm going to show you this key to self-liberation. It points down right into the cellar. It's and basically when you're going into the cellar, it's asking you to sweep up, to sort, and finally see what's there in the dark.
Mm.
And that is where this lasting wholeness comes from. Roots. And it's not just branches. And many self-help resources focus more on the surface level quick fixes or techniques without guiding people to this root psychological or emotional cause of their suffering.
Yeah.
So at a certain level, they're okay, they're helping you, and it's a process. And you will get some improvements. So again, there's nothing against self-help books. But without engaging with these inner patterns and these belief systems that shape both our physical and our emotional experiences, attempts at healing at this level, this upper level, the surface level, it remains temporarily or incomplete. And then again, if I can speak for the key to self-liberation, next to 22 other books which Christiane has written in Dutch and are unfortunately not yet available in English, we're working on it.
Good.
By contrast, Christiane asks for a courageous, deep dive and inviting actually genuine self-inquiry rather than offering superficial solutions.
Yeah, that's very helpful. A lot of college students, I talk about alcohol and drug abuse prevention on college campuses, and many students will see other students abusing alcohol or drugs on a regular basis, and they're trying to treat that surface issue of dependency on alcohol or drugs. But what they're not understanding is that there is a root cause there, right? There is a reason why they are abusing alcohol or drugs. That could be trauma from childhood. right? There's a whole bunch of different reasons, but until you treat that root cause, then what you're seeing in terms of alcohol or drug abuse, maybe it's temporarily going to go away, but it's going to come back. And so, the question is, can we treat that root cause? So I think that is a very important concept for college students to understand when they are trying to either heal themselves or potentially to help others, right? And you also say that you're not broken, but the way that you've been trying to heal might be. So, what are some of the ways that students might be unintentionally sabotaging their own healing process?
That's a little bit in the same atmosphere as we are talking about self-help books.
Right?
We are talking about trying to heal. And then again, a lot of self-help books and ideas are like, you are broken. Because as you mentioned, there's a lot of addiction, there is alcohol. But you can also ask yourself, what is the craving for that? Because even a lot of people use sugar. People fill themselves with sugar. I mean, at the end, it's about the craving.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. I mean, of course, it is for your health, it's not good. But the idea is not, why are you taking alcohol or why are you taking, but what is the meaning of the craving for that alcohol, for that sugar? That is also a very important question. So again, you are not broken. You're never broken. Again, everyone, every student, even a 77-year-old, no one is broken. We are humans, we are unique. We are beautiful humans.
Mm.
But the way that we are trying to heal is broken. And that is a very different nuance. Students, and as I said, many adults are often unintentionally sabotaging healing by, again, seeking external validation. They're numbing with distractions, self-judgment, or by engaging in people-pleasing, perfectionism, and suppressing these authentic feelings to fit in or to be enough. This can deepen this disconnection from the body, and this is perpetuating stress and symptoms. So by not acknowledging or honoring one's true needs, healing remains out of reach. And that's like trying to fix a leaky boat by bailing water instead of trying to fix it.
Yeah.
And that's I believe what people, and I think students who are vulnerable and easily they're easily connected to that. They sometimes overwork. They self-criticize. They numb out with their phones, and they're not realizing all these things. Well, there are all these ways running from the storm instead of learning how to sail it. And sometimes, especially in this world, and I believe to especially students are experiencing that, sometimes what looks like strength is, sometimes just cleverly disguised as self-abandonment again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about what college students are experiencing, because right now, when I meet with college students, they're almost all of them are burnt out. Many of them are feeling very anxious right now, and they're also physically drained. I don't think that they're sleeping enough, but they can't really pinpoint why they have all of these feelings. So, what questions should they be asking themselves based on this psychosomatic approach?
My son, I'm just thinking about my son, he's 18 years old.
Yeah.
So I can relate to their world, to what's with the students. And we're always saying, as next year I'll be turning 50.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes I'm happy that I'm not living this time, because it's not always easy. But I would advise to students, as I'm also advising to my son, is, think of your body as a friend tugging your sleeve and say, hey, don't ignore me, especially when the signals get out loud. And when you're feeling this anxiety, this pain, just ask yourself, where am I saying yes when actually I mean no? What emotion might be under this fatigue or this anger or this sadness or this longing? Am I living for applause or for alignment?
Hmm.
That's another question I think people can ask. Sit and reflect. If I had permission to rest or speak up, what would I really choose?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is very, very important questions for students nowadays, but also for for most people suffering with today's complex challenges.
Yeah.
And I could maybe even advise to keep a body journal for a week. Every time a symptom flares, just jot down what's happening or who you were with, and then trying to find out the patterns, thought patterns, what went through me, what was I thinking when that specific emotion or this symptom, this little thing in my pain passed, and try to find for yourself which patterns it reveals. And sometimes you will feel, because not everything is in words, you feel patterns and you cannot describe it in words, but just be able to be aware of those patterns, even if words lack. I think that's already a big step.
Hmm. I like that idea about pattern journal, right? And just writing down every single day, what some of those patterns are. Is there any other small mindset shift that a college student can make in order to start listening to their body and also honoring their authentic self?
Yeah. Well, I think a powerful shift is again to just pause every once in a while, every moment, few times a day. And another thing is see every symptom or emotion. When you're feeling anger, when you're angry, when you're feeling upset, don't see this emotion as an enemy, but try to consider this and see it as a message from the self. And then I mean your inner self. It's like an invitation to investigate and gently listen to yourself rather than to suppress. Now, reframing bodily sensations as allies on the journey to authenticity empowers students to honor and care for themselves moment by moment. And, try this. I mean, imagine your body is a messenger, not a mischief maker. But instead of scolding yourself for feeling off, why not start thanking your body for carrying enough to ring the alarm bell?
Hmm.
And it is this subtle shift, curiosity instead of criticism, that opens a new doorway to healing.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that a lot. You and I, we're the same age. I just turned 50 in July. I also have a couple of kids. One of them is, 18. Another one is going to be 21. So I understand, exactly what you're talking about, both with us and also our children. But I think you and I, we had a lot more time to pause and reflect. Today, forget it. There's no time to pause and reflect. I mean, they are completely over engaged every single minute. And even when they're not engaged, you talk about this numbing effect with social media and their phones, right? So they don't have time to pause and reflect. There is no time to do that because when there is time, they're usually on their phones being distracted. This is the problem. This is exactly the problem, right?
That's the challenge. That's today's highest, biggest challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
Make this time to reflect, to pause. I like there. I once heard a quote, and I believe it was Indian originally, that when people said, "I don't have time," that the guru said, "Just make time." And that's the same with our phone. Just put it aside for a
Yeah,
moment, a
yeah, we
minute.
need to put it aside and just have some time to pause and reflect on what's going on in our days. What does liberation look like when somebody fully understands the message behind their symptoms?
Well, first of all, I'm also still searching for this liberation as the end, as the summum of what we are looking for.
Yeah.
But basically, liberation, self-liberation, is a felt sense of wholeness, self-acceptance, and increased vitality. It's all about life. When someone understands and integrates this lesson, the lesson their symptoms hold, um, replace this with greater confidence, they with purpose, with connection, and this connection is both with yourself and the world, because we don't have to lock ourselves up in a small room. This connection is both with ourselves in the first place, and you will see you will improve your connection with the world as well. So that is a part of liberation. Just be, stepping out of the dark. It's like getting out of this cave and get in the sunlight, and you will feel there's relief, clarity, energy, and suddenly symptoms become, like I said before, they become allies, and they're no longer enemies. Life gets richer, colors return, the air feels lighter, and that is liberation. I speak from experience after I had this severe car crash and this autoimmune disease. Well, I was in the end of my 20s, and I would have never believed that I would. I'm not self-liberated, but I'm and still in the process.
Hmm.
I took some very good steps, but I can tell you, once when I look back at that time, then it offers so much to go to choose, because basically it's a choice that you make. When you choose for this liberation, it offers you life.
Well said. I think this has been a really fascinating interview, and now everyone's going to rush out and try to get this book. It's called The Key to Self-Liberation by Christiane Beerlandt. Where can students go to learn more about the key to self-liberation, all of your work, so that way they can apply this to their own lives?
Yeah. Um, as you mentioned before, Amazon is the place to be, as always, especially
Hmm.
in North America.
Yeah.
However, I would like to invite your students, if they are interested, to take a look at this key to self-liberation, to visit our website, christianebeerlandt.com. And I think it's better if I send you an email writing it out, which you can put maybe in a comment.
Yep.
And I will be happy to offer to your students exclusively a 10% discount, offering a code Greek10.
Fantastic.
Now, it's as I showed the book. The book has been printed and is bound, printed in Belgium, bound in Holland. It's very high quality bound. So this is a book which will last hopefully for a lifetime.
Mm.
And this is why I feel it's very important that students can work with it. Again, it's not something you have to look up every 5 minutes when you have a headache, but it's important when you have a headache, just take a look at the text, read it, let it go, and a week, a day, a month, a year later, reread, and they will see that the text will come in differently, and it's a very big help in their life. So christianebeerlandt.com, and as for myself, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. All right. So the discount code is Greek10. I'm going to put that in the comments as well. And all you have to do in order to cash in on that 10% discount is go to Christiane's website. And so it's spelled CHRISTIANEBEERLANDT.com. Go to that website, type in Greek 10. You'll be able to get a 10% discount off of the book. And I think that's a better way to go and get the book. Now, of course, you can go to Amazon if you absolutely must. You can go there to get it as well. I just saw a commercial the other day that basically said that Amazon is offering cars. You can buy your car on Amazon now. They have Hyundai is the manufacturer of the car that I drive. And so you can buy a Hyundai on Amazon right now. It's crazy. They're taking over the world. I mean, just completely taking over the world. Unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
So, but go to the website instead. Go to christianebeerlandt.com and go and buy the book. You'll get a 10% discount. So what's better than that, right? So I appreciate you, Marcel, being on the show. I think this was a lot of fun. So thank you for sharing Christiane's message.
Thank you, Dr. Mike.
Of course, my pleasure. And to our students, if you enjoyed this interview and you think that other college students would benefit, I want you to like it and I want you to share it on social media so that way everybody can hear Marcel's words, which is really Christiane's words as well. So thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Bye for now.